Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest hosts, Jake and VeRae Joseph.
Good morning, Alliance family. Jake and VeRae Joseph coming to you live from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Super excited to be here. As always, what an honor to be asked to host this call by Andy and Jane. Never want to take that for granted. Definitely want to make sure we're always delivering to the Alliance Nation. We're so grateful for all of our uplines, our mentors, and our leaders who have given us the opportunity to be here.
What is up, everybody? Dang, you guys get a second dose of us. Good luck.
Woo!
I wish you luck. Super grateful. Andy and Jane, and what they've done and what they've built. We've been talking a lot with our team here recently, and just kind of having our good buddy Drew calls them epiphanies. We've been having a lot of epiphanies lately, and we were thinking about it yesterday. Thinking back to why Andy created this business and what was like the vision for the future, right? And I truly believe wholeheartedly, 100% without a doubt, that he built this business so that way we all could achieve financial freedom and time freedom, right? With our spouses, with our families, and for other generations to come, and for everyone that we meet in this world, friends, family, coworkers, people just out, at restaurants, whatever it is, that we can bring them into this business. And again, I truthfully believe there was no way that Andy was sitting in his basement thinking, you can make $100,000 selling. Like, that's really cool. And like, you can do that. And people have never made $100,000 before, but I know wholeheartedly that Andy created this business so we could all be business owners, that we could all expand, that we could experience the things of this world that you can only experience with having true financial freedom and true wealth, building a business and building organizations in the way that we can do it. So yeah, just huge gratitude for them. And then all the other leaders, all the OGs in the business that were there and stuck through it, that paved the way for us. If I start naming names, I'll forget some, but y'all know who you are, obviously. But just super excited. Like, every day we get a new start, we can hit the reset button and have the excitement to build forward. Yesterday was yesterday. Who cares? Now we've got today, and we're planning for the days ahead. So really, really excited for that.
Ooh, you sounded like integrity for the good days ahead.
For the good days ahead. For the good days ahead. Now I just started thinking of something else. Anyway, so again, Jake and VeRae Joseph here at Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Just for those of you who weren't on Wednesday, we've got some amazing guests again that absolutely killed it on Wednesday. I got as our niece Lily calls them, the Humpty Bumpties. Those are goosebumps, as I heard some of them spitting fire on Wednesday. Really excited for today, though, because for any of you that do know me on more of a personal level, VeRae is more of the personality, the animal test. She's the lion, right? I'm a little bit more analytical. So when it comes time to the activity call, like, this is my home. Like, okay, what are the specific things that we need to do? I love the motivation stuff. I love the feel good, but I really enjoy, like, tell me what to do. Like, what do I do? And how do I do it? And so on and so forth. So I know we do have an hour, and we're going to action pack it as much as we possibly can with the help of our guests. But let's, again, real quick round robin. Everyone introduce themselves. For anyone who wasn't on the Wednesday call, just tell us your name, where you guys are at, really quick.
Go ahead. Top right is Amanda and Sam.
I'm Amanda Maldonado. This is Sam Hollivay. We are out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we've been in the business for just over 2 years, and we are direct to the amazing Jake and VeRae Joseph. And then we've got our beloved Joseph Dukes and Mike and Noel Leventovich, and all the way up to Abian, and then, of course, Andy and Jane. And we're just so incredibly grateful for what Andy and Jane have created, because you're right, Jake, this is just beyond incredible, the opportunity that they've laid out for all of us. So good morning, everybody.
She has to say that because she's my mom. So thank you. Appreciate it. Love you.
Love you, baby girl.
All right. We've got Sam. You able to say a couple words?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sam Hollivay, also living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 26-year Air Force veteran. And pursued a career in aviation. So blessed to be here. Thank you, Andy and Jane. Thank you, Jake, VeRae, and everybody. And just happy to be here.
There we go.
Thank you.
Hey, real quick before Maddie, we're just going to give a shout out because we love our nieces and we adore them.
And they're on this call.
They're listening in. So hi, Lily. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Bella.
Hi, Malia.
Hi, Malia. What's up, you little turd? Love you, girls. All right, Maddie, go.
Hey, little turds, but no, I'm just kidding. Hey guys, I'm Maddie. No, I'm here in Tampa, Florida, and I have been with the Alliance for going on 6 months now. So as soon as I got here, I just wanted to make a name for myself. It seems like I'm on these calls, so it seems like it's happening the way I'm wanting. But yeah, I've been in the business in total a year. As of today, actually, I quit my job last year, so it's my 1-year anniversary of quitting my boring banking job. And I'm super, super, super grateful for everybody that's opened the door for me here. Dani Ross, we were friends before this. Warm Market Works. You never know when you're catching somebody that's having their worst day or down moments or doubts in their mind about what life really is. And she opened the door for me, and I met everybody else on this call is basically my upline. So, Amanda, you're my upline by proxy, right? But Sarah is the upline to Dani, and we are super close. She mentors me all the time on the daily. Jake and VeRae, Amanda, Sam, it's always great seeing you, and everybody above them, Joseph Dukes, Mike and Noel, Avian, and of course, Andy Albright. I'm so grateful that you guys opened the door for me and kept it open. So thank you.
Thank you.
What's up, YouTube? Hi, my name is Dani Ross. I'm based out of Nashville, Tennessee now. I just moved from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I was brought into the business by Miss Sarah Seifert and then Family Tree. They all just explained it. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you guys.
Thanks for being on. Maddie said something real quick that maybe some of you guys didn't catch, but when we're building this business and we're sharing this with others, catching people on a bad day. We're looking for the dissatisfied. People who know there are more out there.
There is more out there.
What did I say?
You said there are.
Oh, knowing that there's more out there. Still get my first cup of coffee. Knowing there's more out there, whether it's the travel, whether it's the cars, whether it's the houses, whether it's writing big checks to your church, whether it's whatever it is, right? There's so many people out there that know there's more to life than where they're at right now. And it's up to us, because unfortunately, a lot of people just aren't in the right vehicle. They're working their butts off, but they're just not in the right vehicle, right? So it's up to us, and don't give up. Don't get weary in well doing. Like we might have mentioned it yesterday. I'm not too sure, but a good friend of ours, one of my first friends I met when I moved from New Jersey to New Mexico, his name's Tyler. We've been after him 7 years. Been after him 7 years since we started to get into this business, and I finally caught him on the right bad day with him and his company. Oh, VeRae caught it. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
We'll move on. I'm just kidding.
No, but go ahead.
Anyway, but I had to mention that because obviously my head goes in one direction. Just not giving up. You're going to find, so for that person who, you really want to share this business with, don't give up. You don't have to be super in their space about it every single day, but just always be touching base, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and as we're going to talk about that, we're going to get into other things, but it's just keeping the door open for everybody. It's been amazing what's been happening in our business recently. Just a lot of warm market people that, again, we've been inviting into this business. We call it the 6-month rule. Every 6 months, touching base with them, following up. And it's always been not now, not now. It's never been a no, though. That's the thing. And sometimes they flat out said no, but you guys have to understand, in sales, they're going to tell you no 7 times before they tell you yes. And so it's been amazing what's been happening in our warm market. I know my mom mentioned it the other day on the call, but my brother, it was just a not now. Right. He was having him and his wife, successful career, doing their thing. It was just a not now. And now he's in. And it's funny. We were eating dinner with my dad last night, and I had gotten a text from him earlier in the week, like, hey, been thinking of getting my insurance license. We should talk. And I'm like, it's never been a no. It's just been a not now. So we were eating dinner with my dad last night. He was asking us questions, and I don't know, will my dad do anything with it? I have no idea, but I know he's dissatisfied. My dad makes over 6 figures a year. He owns his house, nice truck, nice vehicle, 4-wheelers, the whole 9 yards. But he's just simply dissatisfied where he's at. So God's been working with us, especially in our warm market and, again, in our businesses. So we're super grateful for everybody that just has stayed persistent and has followed up with their people. But I'll go ahead and let Jake jump into
right?
it.
That was the person that we were telling you about. That was kind of a secret because we were still
Jeff.
waiting. If you're watching, Jeff. All right. So jumping into things, I love this. As soon as I saw this topic, I was like, all right, because I tell people this all the time at conference. Don't waste what's been given to you. They've trained you, they've mentored you, they've handed you the playbook. The real test: what happens after the event? Most go home and waste it. Right? That's pretty powerful. And that unfortunately that does happen a lot. Why is it that I feel like every single year towards the end of the year, there's always new names that pop up toward going through the last quarter of the year. And my belief is that these were people that started the beginning of the year, and over the course of 3 different events, they've been able to become the person that they need to become. And it just was enough time for them to absolutely explode coming out of the event. But why are people like that? Why are these new names that are popping up? Why is it them and not you? Right? Why is it them and not you? It's because of the action that's taken following, right? This is a great saying, but I love it. The first time I heard it, knowledge is like, people say knowledge is power, right? But it's not. It's the application of the knowledge that is power. So there's some people like geniuses, super smart, whatever SAT scores, IQ level, blah, 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 right? But because they have like no people skills, because they don't take any action on their ideas, they're at home sitting on the couch eating Cheetos with happy sad tissues, right? They just never take any action. And so what we're going to be diving into today with some of our guests and some of our own personal methods is, how do you take action? Like, what do you do in an event? Because you guys, we just came back from National Boot Camp. There was so much going on. Like, that is our nuts and bolts training of the year. There's going to be a lot of good stuff, I know, in National Convention in January. But what I do know is, oh my gosh, if you did not learn something new back in Burlington, that you were one of the ones holding up the back wall, or you were sleeping, or you were sleeping
you weren't there.
You just weren't there. Or you weren't there. Oh, shocker. And like, that's what you have to go into these conferences. You have to know how they work and have a game plan going in. But I love again, I said it last time, James Coleman, your mind's like a parachute, doesn't work unless it's open. So you need to keep your mind open of what you're going to learn new at these conferences. But if you don't have an action plan coming out of it, like what you're going to do and how you're going to implement things, like, it's all like you wasted your time, your money, your emotional energy. Like, guys, this is real life. Like, there are consequences. There are good and bad consequences. So we're going to jump into, again, really the nuts and bolts and the thick of it here. Starting with some of our guests. So here, simple question for you guys. And again, we'll just start in the same order. What's your go-to steps? What are your go-to steps following a conference to help you take action and implement what you've learned? Amanda and Sam, if you can kick us off with that.
Yeah. So first off, going into conference, I don't want to be a pig and I don't want to be a dog. I don't want to be a pig and I don't want to be a dog.
Please explain.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is something that I've always been told by my dad. In the Bible, it's in Matthew 7:6. It says specifically, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before swine." You've got to show up to conference ready to receive incredibly amazing information from those who have gone before us, right? So when I'm there, I'm taking notes. I'm being very intentional of how I'm focusing and gathering the information. And then when I get home, it's so much information. I kind of sit through it, and I like to pick about 5 items that I'm going to take very intentional action on, and just execute them and see what happens. So some of the things from past events, like the West Coast tour that Dani and I were at, where Andy just, oh my gosh, it was a little bit of a beating moment, but a much needed one, because that made me come home and implement what he said to do, which is the textiling. And off of that textiling, I did it exactly the way he said to do it. And I've got an agent who's got 2 seminars tomorrow. So yes, that was 6 months ago, but by coming home and implementing exactly what he told us to do, now those seeds that were planted are coming to harvest. And that's going to be happening tomorrow. So it's just about goal setting, not because you guys are my kids, but holy moly, man, that room was packed. And the information that you all gave us, talking about goals and showing us literally how several years ago you wrote down on those 3x5 cards what your goals were and how those things have literally, now they're coming to pass. And so for me, that was incredibly, very, very powerful. And so it literally got us home. And Sam and I just bought our dream board, and we hung it in the office, and we bought some 3x5 cards, and it's time to get down and to get our goals down on paper. And
Sam better have a new car on there.
He does.
Sam better have a car on there.
I see a Shelby Mustang.
Shelby Mustang, come on now.
Either that Mustang or the what they call the Dark Horse.
He's going to be driving the Dark Horse Premium.
It's going to be XL so he can
Dark
fit in.
Horse Premium, everything you can get, and may even keep the one that the 5 liter that I got because it's so popular, and it's popular.
Sam's going to need a bigger garage. He's going to need there we go. I love that.
That's so exciting.
So getting home, reviewing your stuff, you kind of took my stuff, but I got some other things. Maddie, what is it? What are the things? What are your tips and tricks of the trade following? And whether this is a conference, a hotspot, a meeting with your upline, like what are some specific things you do when you've been gathering information? How do you implement it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, all of these events, whether it's a hotspot or a convention or just a regular Friday meeting, it's always information overload for me. Like, I don't know about you guys, but my attention span is like an ant. So Amanda, I applaud you for taking 5 things and taking action on that, but I'm like lucky if I get one. Okay. So I'm trying to be immersed in whatever the call, the meeting, the convention that's going on. I am taking notes, but I'm trying to feel something. I'm trying to internalize at least one thing. And so for me, I just try to act as if right now that's the thing I internalize. And how do I act as if, right? I do the things that I would need to do as if I was that person. And so that was the biggest lesson that I took away from this last convention was just, hey, there was a million things that I learned, whether it be on the estate planning side, on the personal development side. There were so many great lessons that I took home, but only one 3-word thing is what comes to my mind because that attention span is so small. So I'm like, how can I maximize the one thing that I took from the convention, right? So act as if I'm going to go ahead and now implement 100 things that I can do. And if I get 50 of those, that's better than 0, right? Like, I'm going to write out the things that I should be doing as if I was that person every single day and utilizing my schedule to the max there. And then if I can get half of that. It's the same way I think about the gym, right? Like if you're going to the gym consistently, you're going to get results, right? Consistency is key in every single regard. Doesn't matter what facet in your life, right? So it's like, okay, if I can get to the gym, even if I don't do a super hard workout, I show up and I do something that's better than me staying at home and staying in bed, right? So I take that one little 3-word thing, act as if, and I maximize that when I get home. And I think about how can I fill my calendar in a way that I'm acting as if. So that's what I've chosen to do, and I've taken that, and now my calendar looks full, but can I deliver, right? Like I can make it look all pretty with colors and do all this stuff and dream build and everything, but am I going to show up for myself? Like right now I'm going to Pilates in the morning, and every single morning, one of the women that's doing the exercises, they're like, I'm so proud of you for showing up for yourself this morning. And I was like, dang, I'm going to steal this. This is great, because it's true. I'm proud of myself for getting out of bed. I was not doing that prior to this convention. So just that little thing, I mean, I'm acting as if I'm the person I want to be, because I'm now going to be that person. If I can accomplish 50%, I mean, that is a win in my book. Like, we'll just keep adding to it, you know?
Love that.
I love that.
Thank you. Dani, what do you have to say on that?
That's big. Keeping promises to yourself, especially coming out of these big events, because you're so fired up while you're there. And you hear everybody talk about it while you're there. Take 2 things, take 3 things, write them down and do them. Like, actually do them when you come home. I love that, man. I love that you're going to Pilates. I love that, you're stepping out of your comfort zone with the group fitness classes, and that's amazing. I would say something that really stuck with me that Mia Fennell said. She said 20-20, and it sounds so simple. 20, talk to 20 people, 20 appointments. And so if you maximize that all the way, like Maddie said, what if you're running 20 appointments, but you're talking to 20 people a day? Right. I remember we were walking in a hotel room, and Andy, we passed this guy, and it was Ryan Chang, Andy, and then I was walking back here, but I was just watching them. And there was this guy sitting, and he looked sharp. He was reading a book or something in the lobby of the hotel room. And Andy lets Ryan and all of us walk past him, and then Andy goes, and Ryan's like, dang it, turns around and goes to talk to that guy, right? So it's super simple to talk to everybody you see, but I read this thing, and it says, I wrote it down for you guys, your intuition speaks in statements, your anxiety speaks in questions. So I need to go talk to that guy, right? Intuition. Should I go talk to that guy? Will he want to talk to me? Anxiety. So implementing what you learn, implementing what you read in the books, because we're not reading for just nothing. So pick 2 things, maximize it, like Maddie said, and you're bound to be successful if you stay the course. It's phenomenal. And then attend the other events so you can learn more things.
There you go.
I was reading a book by Brian Tracy this week, and as I was reading it, it said, "Time slips through like sand in your fingers." And so Brian Tracy was talking about, how do we make the most of our time and time management? And what he talks about is making a list of things, the day prior. What am I going to get done tomorrow? What are those most important things? And it reminded me of conference, right? Because when you're sitting in conference, you're taking notes, you're trying to absorb, I'm like Maddie, I'm trying to absorb that one thing, right? I would love if I could come out with more than that, but I'm looking, hey, what thing is hitting me in the face right now that if I took and I came out of here and I implemented, that's going to make a difference in my business, that's going to make a difference in my personal life these next 90 days. And so that book by Brian Tracy reminded me of conference of, okay, I'm taking notes. Now, what's this one thing that I can take to move me forward, and making a list every day before the end of the day of, okay, what's my most important task that I'm going to do tomorrow? Because it's so easy for people to go to conference and come out and not have a plan of action, right? And I think that's what can hurt us the most, because conference motivates us, but the whole point of conference is to change habits, to get back and truly change our habits. What time are we waking up in the morning? What are we doing every day to keep our calendar full? Are we working on the right things? So I thought that was so powerful of, okay, can I make a list? Because it's so easy, I'm going to be the first to admit I'm not perfect. It's so easy to pick one of my daughters up from school and be on a phone call with a client. It's so easy to pick one of them up from school and be talking to, one of you guys. And just like that, 30 minutes has gone by, and that was my time that I had designated to spend one-on-one time with her that day, right? So it's making that list of important things coming out of conference and being able to implement that.
Yeah, I love the overall theme. Y'all are definitely satisfying my beaver mentalities right now, because it's important to me. It's my love language. Going to an event or you're going to, again, it's like drinking from a fire hose, especially I'm going to talk for new people right now. Okay. This is what we need you to do. This is how you need to structure it, because you can go, I remember what it was like. I almost at any time, if let's say Stephen Davies was up on stage, I was probably a brand new agent. I was trying to be like a what are those people, the teleprompt, the people that type down everything in a courtroom? I was like literally trying to
Scribe.
yeah, whatever it is, right? You guys get it. And so you come at a conference with like 50 pages of notes, and some of it you look back but here's a problem. Nobody ever goes back and looks at them. So my first thing I do as soon as conference is over, as soon as I have a minute to myself and I'm away from noise, is I take my notes on my iPad and I take notes of my notes. Because as I'm going through conference, I highlight the things that I'm like, damn, that was good. Like I'm going to come back to that. And then I get on the plane and I take notes of my notes. And then my notes of my notes, then I pull away my top 1, 2, or 3 things. Because if you have 50 things, you guys have heard it, jack of all trades, master of none. Like you don't want to be. It's kind of like, okay, you could be a little bit in depth in a bunch of different legs, but hey, you definitely want some big organizations coming in, you know? Imagine if you had 3 massive legs, 12 deep, issue paying, doing $150,000, $200,000 a month each. That'd be wild, right? So, but now here's the bigger question is, well, Jake, how do I know what it is that I need to take away? What are the 1, 2, 3 things that I need to take away and implement? Well, what do you suck at? I loved it. It was maybe the last national boot camp we had, but the marketing team did a great job of this, and they handed out these pieces of paper, and it was like you had to draw a wheel, and it was like selling, recruiting, personal development. I can't remember what the other one was. And it asked you to rate it. And it was on this chart. And so if you weren't equal, if you were really good at selling, but terrible at recruiting, your wheel was cockeyed and you would not get down the road. So it was like, okay, how can we take our weaknesses and how can we work on those, right? How can we get better in certain areas so we're not just heavily on personal production, but now we're building a business. So if you need to figure out, okay, what part do I need to get better at? Figure out and be real with yourself. What do you suck at? And then start teaching it. I remember Andy, maybe that's why he's having us talk on this. I don't know. I'm not going to look into it though, because I'm not going to get into that rabbit hole. But he always likes having people train on stuff that they're not good at, because if you can train on something, that's how you get better at something. That's how you actually learn something, is starting to train on it. So again, I could take another hour on that, but I know we've got the time. The time is a ticking. So let's do this now. So we talked a little bit about conference, right? You get home, the excitement, all the smoke and the sparks and everything, and the recognition has faded. You get home, you walk into your door, and damn, the dog crapped on the rug, and your dog sitter didn't do a good job of cleaning it up or something. Like crap will happen. Things are going to happen. Things are going to be wrong. And then we get back into our normal weeks. You just came off this high. And I know how it is. You get home and it's
life
is lifing.
Right.
So we need to take it a step further. And my friends are going to help share this, but in a normal week, right, when all the excitement has subsided, what is it that we're doing to accomplish results at a high level consistently? So if you guys can share that. We talked about conference, but more importantly, it's not just conference, it's the 90 days in between. It's the 90-day run. So what is it that you guys are doing on a typical week that's keeping you, or that's giving you the ability to achieve high results consistently?
Same.
So for me, it's my schedule. When I was down in the basement training on estate planning, that's just something I pushed. I mean, your paycheck, your business, your everything is a direct reflection of your schedule. If you stay true to your schedule, if you truly pack your schedule, and not with dilly-dally things, but with income producing activities, and you stick to your schedule, your bank account will reflect how busy you've been. Your bank account will reflect your schedule. So for me, it's all about schedule. I am very, very intentional about holding a certain amount of appointments. And for me right now, it's 15 kneecap to kneecap appointments with clients in the office. And you can ask my staff, I get very cranky if there's empty spots or if they turn gray. We color code our schedule. And so if there's something that's turned gray, that's like a no-show, somebody who's canceled an appointment, and that's fine because that's going to happen, but now put somebody in its slot. When I'm at the office, my time is precious, and following my schedule to a T is what has allowed me to get to where I am. And so one of the things I had to just put myself in check with was how much of my schedule is dedicated to recruiting and building, right? And I had to have a very honest conversation with myself and coach myself and say, okay, that is somewhere where I have got to get better. So I'm right now in the process of redoing my schedule, because if it's on my schedule, it happens. If it's not on my schedule, it's just not going to happen. So that level of activity is a direct reflection of intention, and that turns into profit, of course.
There we go.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to definitely agree. Having a schedule, organizing your time. You can't shotgun blast everything. You know, some things got to happen in a certain order, a certain sequence. You just can't do something that's not important now and something that's very important later. You know, and you got to be mindful of other people's time as well. And also, what I get out of conference every time is being mindful and watching yourself talk, because what you say to yourself is powerful. It means in what you think is powerful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Before Sam, what you just said is massive. Yesterday, so our younger daughter didn't have school yesterday, doesn't have school today. It's her fall break. And so I had told her that I could take her to get her nails done. So we were at the nail salon yesterday. And when you are in this business, you become hyper aware of the things that you say, right? You become hyper aware of the things that other people are saying. And my buddy Drew and I were having this conversation. It's hung by the tongue, right? As a man thinketh, so is he. And the words that come out of people's mouths. So I was in the nail salon. One of the nail technicians, you know, she thought she was being funny talking to one of her clients, but all that was coming out of her mouth was how she can't afford nice things. She can't afford the house. She's never going to be in a position where she's going to have the car or the house that she wants to drive. The man that she was talking to, you know, she said, hey, I don't know his name. How's your day going? The first thing out of his mouth was, oh, it's one of those days, you know, it's already turned into one of those days. And I was thinking to myself, man, people are so unaware of the things that they're saying every day. And you don't know until you know, right? So that's the blessing that the Alliance has been to us, outside of course, the money, the income that we've been able to provide for our family. It's being aware of those things and learning those things. And I turned to my daughter and she's picking up on it too. And she looked at me and she says, Mom, that's not good for them to say. And I'm like, you're exactly right. Like, they're aware, because Jake and I catch ourselves. We're not perfect, right? We have our moments, but when you're around people that are just consistently talking positively and making sure that you're not, you know, getting down that hole of, you know, negative self-talk and negative thinking, it makes a difference in your life. And so I challenge anybody that's on this call, just be aware of what's going on around you. Listen to how people talk about themselves. Listen to how people talk about their days and, you know, the scenarios around them. And it's unfortunate, but it's no wonder they're not getting ahead in life. Because what we tell ourselves is so powerful, and what we tell others. I remember Joseph Dukes telling me this. His mom grew up telling people that he was shy. And our younger daughter, for a while there, you know, we would classify her as shy. And I remember when he told me that, I will never say that my daughter is shy again, because that gives her permission to be shy. And so I have friends that, you know, oh, she's shy. And I will yell at them in a hot second, don't call her shy. She's not shy. You know, so it's how you're classifying yourself. It's how you're talking about yourself and others. So thank you for pointing that out, Sam.
Yeah, real quick. Oh, go for it, Amanda.
No, I just want to say something really quick, because yes, it's incredibly important to come home and to read the books and to really engage. I had, I think, a bit of an aggressive moment because we got home from conference and I was cleaning off one of our nightstands and I found some books that I didn't think were very positive, because it was like, and I'm not going to say what they were, but it was basically like how to solve health problems. And I looked at him and I was like, man, don't get get rid of these things. And I like shredded them. And I was like, don't be reading these things. Are these books in the back of the 8 steps? Are these books in the back of the Millionaire Maker? I was like, who's telling you to read these things? I was getting crazy animated because the books were geared towards like, I have a problem. Here's how to deal with the problem. And it's like, you don't have that problem. I remember when we got back from Peru, I walked into my house and my husband, oh my Lord, this whole house smelled so bad. He had been on a Dr. Oz kick and he was doing like these cleanses. So the garlic and the lemon cleanse, like a whole blender full. And I was like, good God.
That smells pretty good.
But so it's definitely taking action, but man, you have to be so careful about who you're taking advice from and what you're reading and what you're putting into your brain. So, let's stick to the positive things, like you said, because it's important. I told him, I said, stop telling yourself that the reason you go to the gym is because you're so afraid of diabetes. Stop saying that. You're going to the gym because you are a bad bleep. And because you have incredible amount of discipline and you are incredibly intentional and you are such a powerful person. That's why you go to the gym.
I don't know what I'd do without her. I don't know.
I can think of a couple things.
I'll be all over the place. I got to give props to Marvin Osuna. It was about 8 months ago. He mentioned a book. It's What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And I bought it and it sat on my nightstand probably about a month. And then went to conference. I think this was the last conference. I went to the conference and said, hey, I need to read this book. And wow, gold, worth its weight in gold. That is a powerful book.
Oh yeah,
Marvin Osuna, definitely somebody worth listening to. You take advice from Marvin Osuna, not Dr. Oz.
I told her that she had to second.
All right, Maddie.
Go ahead and repeat it. Sorry.
Oh, when the dust settles and you're back at home and it's just you, like what is it that you're doing week in and week out? What are you doing on a daily basis? What are you prepping and planning on the weekend to make sure you're working through the week, you're getting results?
That's a great question. I'll get vulnerable for a second. Coming out of family reunion, I thought I was doing a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I thought I was working. And when I got to boot camp, I realized I wasn't working that hard. So I think for me right now, just really keeping the commitment to myself, even if it's small, like drinking a certain amount of water per day, like something small. The more promises I'm starting to keep to myself, the more that I can believe myself when I set a goal or achievement that I want to get to. So coming out of conference or coming out of any event where I'm thinking about, okay, what am I going to do to make sure that I can keep the commitment to myself? I'm going to lead from the front. That's what I'm going to do. And if you don't have a team right now, first off, what are you doing? Because you should have a team, right? In the first 48 hours, you can hire a person and they can hire a person in 48 hours. So I don't want to hear excuses when it comes down to building. But when it comes down to leading from the front, I just think of my entire team behind me and they're watching what I'm doing. If I'm not acting correctly, if I'm not holding my head up and paying attention and taking notes in conference, if I'm not showing up to every single call, they are not going to do that. I'm not sure what the saying is exactly because, my attention span is small, but I'm pretty sure it's like your team is going to do 50% of what you do right and 100 or 200% of what you do wrong. Like, I need to do less wrong, okay? That's what I'm trying to figure out, Jake. So yeah, when the dust settles, how can I keep promises to myself so that I can be a good leader for other people getting in this business? Because this opportunity is life-changing. I know that to be true. I need to prove it to myself that I can do what's in the 8 steps every single day, what's in the books that we're reading every single day, and implement that, keep that conversation current, and like check in with myself, no one's coming. So I hear that a lot on Instagram. I don't know what your guys' algorithm is, but they're like, no one's coming to save you, okay? It's gotta be you. So just making the decision now, whether I've made it 1,000 times before, but making it again and keeping the promise to myself. When the dust settles, that's what's gonna change my life. That's what's gonna change my team's life. that's what's going to change their team's life. And just being able to bless people in that way, I think I have a whole nother purpose as to why I'm in this business based on that. So.
Yeah, you remind me of something our pastor was talking about this last weekend. Obviously he was talking about surrendering to God, but so many people think it's a one and done thing, right? Like, hey, I got baptized, I'm saved. But no, it's surrendering every day. Sometimes multiple times a day. So, coming back to what you said, it's like, hey, I've got to remind myself every single day, this is what I'm doing, and I've got to hold promises to myself. And what our pastor was saying, he was like, if you could have done it by yourself, you would have already done it. So whether it's God in your life that you need, a mentor, whatever that is, if we could have done it by ourselves, we would have already done it. And that's the power of the alliance and the system. It's, people can go be self-employed and build businesses on their own, but the power of the alliance is we have that person, we have the system, the team that's got our back. And, as long as we surrender every day and just admit to ourselves, if I could have done this by myself, I'd already have done it. So if we surrender ourselves every day to knowing and reminding ourselves and having gratitude for our uplines and having gratitude for the system and having gratitude for the carriers, every little piece of this business, it's going to get us further every single day. So thanks for sharing that, Maddie.
Dani?
When the dust settles, I'm stacking wins. I'm trying to stack as many wins as I can in my day fast. Whether it be, what's important to me is obviously a physical win and then a mental win. I tried to do the mental win first and I would be falling back asleep and then I'd sleep in way too long. So physical first to get my, out of bed. And then I come back home and I read. So I had read, if y'all haven't read it, Eat That Frog. I forgot who wrote it, but
Brian Tracy.
The hardest thing in your day, knock it out. And then the rest of your day is easy. Talking to people is easy once you've already kicked your own butt in the gym. Like, they can't kick it again. You already did it. So stack your wins and get on your day. Win your day. Make your bed. That's another good book. Just make your bed. I don't know if it's in the 8 steps, so don't go buy these books, but go look in the 8 steps and take what I say with a grain of salt, please.
Yeah,
that is a good one. Yeah. I know everyone's a little bit different, as you can see, and that's why I love this. I know for me personally, you get home and it's another week, right? And you're like, okay, I got to make sure, again, like Dani said, I put wins on the board. Something that's helped me a lot is I got to trick myself by keeping myself accountable to others. So one thing I've always done, and I've continued to do my best at doing, is just telling other people what I'm going to do, because then if I don't do it, I look like a fool. And I don't really want to look like a fool, I told myself one time. And so like when it comes to travel, I just tell them, hey, I'm going to be out there these dates. And I try to tell as many people as possible, because then if I tell 10 people, I'm held accountable. Right. With this virtual sales thing, it's opened up the opportunity to be more flexible and still be able to sell and have enough time for recruiting. So it's like we have the opportunity, we have the blessing of living on mountain time. And I once heard, like, especially if you live on the West Coast, like if you're waking up at let's just call it, if you're waking up, gosh, if you slept in till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, the East Coast, they're already halfway through their day, which is crazy to think. So mountain time here, I just started telling people, I started telling our agents here in our office, I said, hey, I'm going to be here at 6 a.m. getting in my sales. So that way by 11:30, 12, I'm done. And then I have the whole, like the day still just started. Like I still have all my time to work with the team, work with agents, so on and so forth. And so just coming up with those different creative ways. So, but yeah, keeping yourself accountable to others, speaking it out loud, telling yourself. And that's where like for VeRae and I, writing stuff down, again, writing our goals down every day, because to keep you focused on the prize, like what is your main goal? Yeah, we can talk about our why and this and that, but what if you just focused on what you wanted every single day? If you get into the habit of writing down what you want every single day, it's going to be right in your face, and you're naturally just going to start doing things, because then eventually you're going to have written it so long, you're going to be like, damn, I got to figure something out. Like I don't have that yet. I don't have that many writing agents yet in a month. I don't have this, that, and the other, you're like, I've been telling myself I have it. So what do I have to do different? Like, you will get sick and tired if you haven't hit it yet. So just keeping, the why is important too, but just like simply what do you want, and keep that in front of you every single day, to make sure that you're naturally doing things to get closer.
Yeah. And it's talking about what you want, not what you don't want, because whatever you talk about, you're going to attract. If you haven't watched it or listened to it, it's called The Secret. And I remember when I was little, my mom was listening to this, and I'd be in the car, like, it's kind of, that sounds a little hippie-ish when you listen to it.
It's very hippy-dippy with an Australian accent in there. But it's good. Just got to get through it.
So I remember when I was little, my mom would be listening to that. But now that I'm older, I'm well, damn, they're spitting fire on this, So, but it's listening to that. It's talking about what you want, and not what you don't want, because you get what you focus on. So that's huge. For myself, just on a weekly basis, I'm going to agree with my mom. It's following my schedule, and it's having somebody else to hold me accountable of that schedule. So I will, in a hot second, if I get a cancellation, anything looks better than sitting at my desk and doing something productive, right? So for me, it's been, our executive assistant, Faith, she's been such a blessing in our life because she keeps my calendar full. I have to rely on others to, again, like Jake said at NBC, what are you not good at? So either you can fix it or you can delegate somebody, to get it fixed. And so I know as long as my calendar's full, that's what I'm going to be doing. So, sometimes I'm like, it's a Monday evening and I'm like, okay, what do I have tomorrow? And I'm like, dang, she booked me all day. I'm starting at 8 a.m. and I'm not out of here till 8 p.m. But it's having that accountability partner. And she knows, hey, that's one of the jobs that she's here to do, is keep our calendars scheduled and productive. Then it's just really talking with others and making sure that you have the right things on your calendar. And, this is, if you've hired an assistant or you're thinking of hiring an assistant, it's making sure that they know what needs to be in your schedule and what doesn't. One of the things that she was putting in my schedule for a while, and, it took a couple times to correct it, which is fine, right? Nobody's perfect, but she would put a policy review in the schedule. And then, so we use Google Calendar. In the calendar, she would say policy review with client's name. And then in the calendar, she'd have the policy number, face amount, type of coverage, monthly premium. I said, Faith, why didn't you handle this? And she's like, well, they need a policy review. I said, you have all the information right here in the calendar. Like, go over the policy with them, right? And it's not to say that I don't want to service my current clients, but to be clear, it's going to be in my schedule, it has to be making me money, right? It has to be making us money. So I was like, hey, listen, it's getting good, and teaching her what kind of questions to ask. Are they looking to add more coverage? Can we get some ERS referrals out of them? But for somebody to just, be reminded of what they have, that is definitely not something that needs to be in my calendar. So it's having a calendar, it's sticking to it, it's having others that are going to help you hold yourself accountable as well. For myself, I'm a mom. So one of the goals in my calendar every day is I'm out of the office at a certain time because I'm going to go pick the kids up from school. I'm going to take them to sports, do dinner, all of those things. So making the most out of your time. I don't have 5 days a week, 8 hours a day to sell. Like, that's just not what my schedule allows. I've got a 4th grader and a 7th grader who are on 2 different schools, 2 different schedules. So it's making sure that in the time that I'm given, I have the highest income producing activities during that time. And then anything else after that can wait.
That was good, huh?
I know. It was really good.
All right. I'm not complimenting you. All right. We're wrapping things up here, everyone. I know you want to listen to us for another hour, but we just can't. We can't afford to do that right now. So as we wrap up, I love how some of y'all started mentioning, I think each of you had mentioned some books. Give us a highlight. You guys, you've read a book that's helped you stay consistent and take action. So what I'd love for each of you to do is, you don't have to have the book in front of you, but just tell us a little bit about, give the crowd, because it's one thing for people to be listening into this call, but I already know it's going to go like it's one in one ear, out the other. But if we can get people reading every day for 15 minutes of a book that's helped us accomplish things on a consistent basis, maybe we can help one more person.
I'd like to start, before we go round robin with that, I would like to start. All of these books that are going to be recommended are phenomenal. But the first books that we should all be reading a part of this business are Andy's books. The 8 Steps to Success, Inside the Circle of You, Millionaire Maker Manual, House of Values and Behavior. So making sure that we're reading those books. All these books are going to be great recommendations. But if you're brand new and you have not read those books first, let's make sure we read those books.
Like, make it to our people. I don't know if it was, I don't know who it was that made me think this way, but when I got into the business brand new and we had these books, like I started with the 8 Steps because they said that was the first one. And a friend of mine that I hired, there was definitely some unhealthy competition there. I think we were at each other's throats all the time. But he went straight to the Millionaire Maker Manual. And I was like, no. Like, that's illegal. You can't read that book first because you didn't read this book. And I don't know who it was that put that in my head. But what if we could get back as a whole company of like, this is the order, right? This was the order that you read them in. Okay. But yeah, let's go ahead, share these. So again, 8 steps first, and then, talk to you going.
All right. So I'm going to go right back to this book, Goals by Brian Tracy. And I'm going to leave you guys with this morning because this for me is just incredibly powerful. And I like to have this discussion with people that I talk to who are contemplating getting into the business or contemplating making a change with what they're currently doing. Another phenomenal book, I'm just going to mention it real quick, is Who Moved My Cheese? That book has helped me probably 20 times in my life. But anyway, there's a piece in this book right here that this is like how I kick my own butt when I'm feeling sorry for myself or when I'm trying to procrastinate or do anything. And it's page 23 of the Goals book. Once you decide to accept complete responsibility for yourself, your situation, and everything that happens to you, everything, you can turn confidently toward your work and the affairs of your life. Essentially, you become the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. And to me, that just, mic drop, says it all. Like, just, guys, take responsibility. You are in complete charge of everything you do and the results that you get. Whatever it is that you want, like, just take responsibility. Take responsibility for yourself and then move in that direction. Take massive action steps to get to where you want to go. Because Maddie's right. Nobody's showing up for you. This is all you, buddy. You gotta carry yourself there. So for me, that's my biggest thing. I love this book. And then during one of the calls that Andy was doing, he was mentioning these 2 books. And so to me, I didn't wait and say, oh, maybe I'll look into those and see what they are. The minute he said, read these books, I got on Amazon and I ordered these books. And so these are on my next reading list. And I'm slow with books because I pick them apart. I highlight, I underline, I go back, I revisit. So, yeah. So that's what it is for me.
I'll piggyback on the book, Who Moved My Cheese. I talked about it a little bit the other day. I said a couple words on it. But I think a lot of people, it's not just a few people, it's a lot of people who are like him. And they sit in the comfort zone and they're afraid of what's outside the door. To get out in the maze of life is better than to sit and wait for new cheese. It's best to get out there and get the cheese. And I take myself, for example. Yes, I'm retired. I have a really nice pension. The VA took care of me, after my illness. I can make it off of this income, but it's not about that. Yeah, I'm good. I'm set for life. But what about growth? What about getting out there and being involved in life? So whoever has read that book, I recommend, through Amanda, I recommend reading that book.
There we go. That was good, Sam. Yeah. Go get that cheddar, right?
Go get that cheese.
Let's get that.
Not just the money, but the cheese.
Wait, Mia
Fennell, get to the bag. Let's get to the bag.
Gotta go get the bag, that's for sure. Amanda, I love the comment that you made on just, or the quote that you read from the Goals book. I'm also reading that book right now, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. I was watching somebody rank books, and if you've ever seen anyone rank something, S tier is like the absolute best. So all of Andy's books are absolute S tier. The Goals book is an absolute S tier. But something that sticks out to me is, you know, we always talk about how the Alliance doesn't make you, like we find you. And so the Alliance found me in a book that I read that really changed my life when I did have a lot of negative self-talk and a lot of victim mentality, not as much as everyone else around me, but I was still a victim, right? Like there was different things going on in my life at that time. Was Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And that book is just so deep to my core of like taking that ownership, just like you were saying, Amanda, like it's just being able to say it's my fault and learning from that and moving on will never be the same. Like you don't have that victim mentality, and it frees up all this other room for other emotions like gratitude, like perseverance, you know, like being relentless. You can't get to those feelings and emotions and actions without taking extreme ownership on the front side. And sometimes taking extreme ownership sucks. Like I said, I'll be vulnerable for a minute. After the last convention, I was not perfect, right? Like I thought I was doing it all, but I wasn't, right? I still did a lot, but I could have done better. And so for me, that extreme ownership piece is just so crucial in moving the needle, because that's what we're all trying to do, is just move the needle. But yeah.
I love that. That's a good reminder.
That's
Duke's told me.
that's Joseph.
That's Duke's favorite book.
Yeah.
Cool. Dani?
I love that you just mentioned extreme ownership, because that's what I was going to say, but I'm not reading it. But how phenomenal is it that we have you, Jake and VeRae, phenomenal leaders, but based off of a conversation, we had a whole call on it the other day about getting on the same page, like not just on the same page in different books, but like same page, same book. So from the trickle down to goals, then extreme ownership, like it's amazing. The power of plugging in, it's priceless. How to win friends and influence people. It's changing my life right now. I read it and I don't understand some things, so then I'll listen to it and then I'll listen and read it at the same time. And like it shows you how to recruit. It tells you how to recruit. And so I don't know. I love it. How you something I said the other day. People aren't interested, or you're not interesting until you're interested in them. I'm probably butchering it, but you can back me on that, Jake. I know you got it, Beaver.
Good. Yeah. It's don't try to be interesting, be interested is really all it is. So that is a really good, and that, Dani, you're on track with, like you said, rereading and listening. It's a workbook. That book is more of a workbook. Like you have to go back and like, it's not, you just read it and set it to the side. You kind of have to have it out. It's kind of like the Millionaire Maker Manual. Like that's something you want to have like on your desk.
It's a manual.
It's in the name, obviously. Thanks, hon.
Sorry.
What
for me, I have two books that have really expanded my mind, and I give a lot of credit to changing my thinking. One is Think and Grow Rich. That book for myself, when I first read it, my first year in, truthfully, I didn't understand it. Like it's a higher level book. So I read it, kind of checked off the mark of, hey, I read this. I've gone back and I've read it 2 more times after that. So I've read it 3 times. But it's every time I read that book, it's in the title, it's Think and Grow Rich. So that's a book that's really, really helped expand my mind. And, if they survey a lot of millionaires out there, the 2 books that they'll say that they've read are Think and Grow Rich and the Bible. Right. So I'm like, okay, if I can read Think and Grow Rich in the Bible. And so we have a study Bible at home that we're doing. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And then it's also coming back to the Goals book by Brian Tracy. That book has definitely changed my life, my way of thinking. Jake and I, the other day, we were at coffee and we said, man, it's crazy. We feel like we've cracked the code of how to get everything in life that we want. Outside of God, because God controls everything, what we can control, it's the words that we're speaking, the goals that we're writing down, the actions that we're taking on a daily basis, the schedule that we are holding ourselves accountable to, everything like that. But really writing our goals down on a daily basis, reading them, being able to go back to them. And like Jake said, when you're writing a goal down over and over again and you haven't achieved it, you can't help but start asking yourself, okay, what do I need to do different in order to achieve this goal? So a goal of mine and Jake's has been, we've been writing it down. We have 200 unique writing agents. We don't have 200 unique writing agents yet. We're writing it down as if it's true because it will be true, but it's forcing Jake and I to ask ourselves, what do we need to do different every day? And then if you're a beginner as well, read and get rich, or read and grow rich. No, it's read and get rich. That was actually one of the most recent books I've read. And it's one of the first on Andy's list. I think it might actually be the first one.
Dani met that guy.
Yeah, I know. I was like, dang, that's cool. But Read and Get Rich is phenomenal. And it just talks about, hey, reading every single day, the importance that it is, and how it's going to help you grow your mindset as a person.
Yeah. So those are all really good. And like, you guys think, well, what, we've been talking about how to take action, how to implement what you learned. And, we talk about books because if we can get people on the same page of reading every day, that's what's going to help keep the fire alive. Like, you're going to have to act your way into that feeling. And so all I do, we're going to end this call right now because it's already 9:00 Mountain, is take one or two things from this call, please, and do it. Like, if you don't have a schedule, start by trying to make a schedule. If you're not reading, start reading, right? If you never went over your notes from National Boot Camp, you should probably do that.
If you didn't take notes, let's maybe
if you don't have your ticket to the next event, to National Convention, if you're new, it's $99.
Right.
It's basically, I'll get anyway. But hey, thank you, Andy and Jane. Thank you for the rest of the Alliance family for tuning in. We always love doing this. We don't take it lightly. So hey, you guys go get them, finish what we got to do, end the week strong, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.